your consideration. The most important factor in any metaphysical exercise is the release of belief systems, boundaries, and fears. All limitations are self-imposed. All limitations are self-imposed.
Coveting lust, deception, envy, thy gluttonous labor with pride and fear, piacular eyeballs looking through binocular at a flock of horny pink flamingos. Tongue weight is losing like a grasping kitty, licking phony, bony pig hogs. The wrath of a latch and a concubine when the vanity mirror ate a raisin and melted in the microwave. That a greedy sloth garnished with a pancake.
Liz, we're here today to discuss the old wives' tale, the notion that too much sex will make you go blind. Why don't you share with us your insights?
I'm not sure I have any. No, of course I do. I have many. I think it's a ridiculous American manipulative thing made up probably in, I don't know which religious community, but I would guess Catholics. What, are you jumping in immediately? Jump right in.
No, I'm just laughing derisively. Keep going.
Oh, are you? How condescending and patronizing of you. Before I make a point, jump right in and be as patronizing as you care to be. No, I think that any kind of pleasure that is derived from carnal behavior in our vastly bizarre religious society is dubbed wrong and ugly, and also when you allow yourself freedom, in turn that makes you question authority. And I think that was a good way of putting an idea into somebody's head, to not question authority by saying, hey, this desire you have that's physical and ingrained and organic is wrong. That's what I think. If you're being manipulative with sex, sure, but then there's people who manipulate people in business and in every other world. That's one thing. But if you choose to have sex and it doesn't need to be this giant emotional love fest, and you're not masking sex as love and you want to have it purely as that, why does that make somebody an immoral boob that all of a sudden your walls go up and you're a cynic and the world's going to be destroyed?
Isn't that, though, having sex manipulatively, though?
No,
using another person.
Who's using who? What are you talking about? You're both consenting. There's no using involved. If I tied him down and had sex with him against his will, that's using. If we both say, hey, you know what, I am so, let's have sex.
I dare you.
I don't know why I'm citing Dana as my example.
But I mean, why is prostitution illegal? I mean, what is the insanity there? As George Carlin said, having sex is legal, selling is legal. Why is selling sex illegal?
Kevin?
Because women would lose, I'm sorry.
No, I first of all, physically, it won't make you go blind. I used to have 20/20 vision. Now I got like 20/30 or something. And I'm 45, and I've been offloading at least a small village of Roonies every day since I was 12. So those paratroopers are all out there somewhere. But emotionally, I don't think it makes you go blind either. You just can't have too much sex. It's a good thing to do.
Has it ever distorted?
It's a good thing to touch. Is a good thing to do. You know what will make you go blind? Not touching people.
Absolutely.
You spend a couple months never touching anyone, even in a baseline sexual way, not an affectionate way. That human touch, that's a bad thing. That's when you go blind. That's when you start to lose your sense of reality. Those are the people who wander around, the old people, never been touched. I think that's what makes them go old at a certain point. Just not touched enough.
So we can blame Bill Gates, because when we have this giant...
We need masturbatoriums on the street corners, just like the French have. You know, you can just jump in there for a quick...
Like the French have.
Yeah.
They're called bathrooms, but...
Like the French. Oh, they're bathrooms?
The ones that hose down when you get out of
That
them.
is so sad. I was going to go to Paris just for
You could
that.
just smoke anywhere you wanted to.
Well...
It can't make you go blind. But I do like the fact that it's illicit to have sex too much. I like the religious notion that you can't have sex, that it's bad for you. Because I think it makes it more exciting. It really does. It makes sex more You know, it's more fun when it's bad.
Yeah, well, we were talking about growing up Irish Catholic, both of us, and you know, you as well, is that sex was the currency of evil. Yeah. It wasn't drinking or drugs.
I thought people saying no to me was the currency of evil.
Is anybody brought up in a religious church where sex is just go for it? Isn't all kind of religions kind of repressing sex? Is there any? And make sure when you go home.
No, you know what?
Sex. It's not oppressive.
You know what? Judaism is not repressive that way.
What is it?
I think this is a very dirty, filthy subject, and I'm appalled by all of you.
I think
Look at her building walls
I think
around it.
Catholicism is really highly repressed.
But maybe
and
I just need to get
Protestant
to
individuals within
Have sex, everybody.
Catholicism is if you don't do this, you will go to hell. It is not based on whether you're a good person. They give you a set of rules that if you don't adhere to them, you will go to hell. And if you think of breaking the rules, you go to hell.
You are wrong.
I am not.
Yeah, of course you are.
Okay,
The basis of I can't, let the basis of Catholicism as you are going to, as a list that you go to hell. It's absolutely incorrect.
Okay.
Catholicism is a perfectly normal Christian religion whereby we gain our redemption through belief in Jesus. That's as simple as that. Now there are rules and everything. There is sin. There is redemption. There are
There's
many
exclusion
complex issues.
It is the most
Procreative sex. That's what it's all about.
That's right.
You have to use sex simply to
Within
procreate.
marriage. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Within
No,
marriage.
there is the theory that there's, if you want to, if not only is non-procreative sex a sin in the literal terminology of the Pope, but planning to have
Absolutely.
non-procreative sex is a sin, and wanting to have non-procreative sex is a sin.
That's exactly right.
There's
I
three sins
Yes.
in one
I'm an Irish Catholic.
discharge.
I'm a practicing Irish Catholic, and that is totally incorrect.
That is totally correct. When you go to the new Cana
You
classes,
believe what TV tells you. I know. I
What are you
understand that.
talking
That
about?
you're trapped in the,
I even
in
know the terms.
news,
It's,
and you're trapped with your television and watching what it tells you for further instructions.
And-
Carnal, venal, and
Steak.
mortal.
mortal. Carnal, venal, mortal.
I grew up Catholic. My dad's side of the family is Irish, but I always loved the Pope quoting the Bible with sort of things like, "Go forth and multiply, though I myself won't be getting involved in that filth."
Sex among married people is not wrong at all. I have 4 children. My wife and I have had sex, those 4 times, and it's been beautiful every single time.
I love talking
So
about
do you
sex.
masturbate?
This is just a way to talk about
Wait,
sex.
I just want to know this. Do you masturbate?
Don't need to, darling.
Well, that's not true
I have-
either. That's
I have
not
a
true
ver-
either. Just because you have a partner.
I
so
have a-
what? Don't you go on long plane
I know.
rides?
I'm
You
bursting
don't
the big bubble here.
masturbate? You don't masturbate?
He doesn't masturbate. He
No.
His kids might be watching. Don't put him on the
No.
spot. His kids could be watching the show.
No.
Daddy does that.
I know. I know I'm from Mars. I know that I'm way away from everything.
you, but I mean, I'm in a wonderful relationship, but I still love a good tug.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not.
right.
I'm masturbating right now, so I mean, I'm into it. Here's my feeling about it. Does too much sex make you go blind? No, I think if 2 people can get it on, it's beautiful, and the more often I'm involved, even better. However, I will say this provocative notion that too much sex on TV will create low vision, or you will go partially blind, or your eyes will hurt. The problem with TV is that it projects light at you. Same with computer screens, right? It projects light at your eyes and kind of hurts. Whereas on a movie screen, it's reflected light, also in a magazine. So dirty magazines, let's read them. Let's keep printing them. First Amendment, it's actually free speech, right? Movies, we need more, XXX movie theaters, I think. The thing we don't need is more like explicit sex on TV and just sexy sex. You know what I mean? Just Baywatch.
What if you have a light on in the room?
Well, that helps.
Over your left shoulder.
And the other thing I need to mention is this. If you have cable TV and they scramble the signal, that will definitely make you go blind.
Yeah,
because
no, I've had
I can see
horrible
Spice here if I was to pay the $5.95, but I really don't want to. Oh, there's a bald. No, it's a breast. No, it's a bald man. You don't know.
So I think you really aren't going to go blind from having too much sex. Okay, Dana, hand in the trough. Is there
I
something
think
new?
too much sex does make you go blind in a sense that it blinds you to certain aspects of life. Not physically blind, but it certainly blinds you to reality. I think people use sex as an escape valve the way other people use alcohol or drugs, where it's just an escape zone. I mean, if you look at Hugh Hefner, I think here's a man who's had no limits to his sexual appetite, and he's this pathetic goon stumbling around his backyard, drinking Pepsi in pajamas, bumping into pinball machines. I certainly don't want to end up like that.
Well, there is sexual addiction.
Well, too much sex definitely, well, you know, too much indiscriminate sex will make you go dead. Too much sex will make you go blind. Blind to the consciousness, to the personhood, to the humanity of the people to which you're having sex with, that you don't care about, and finally to yourself.
Whoa.
As the freedom that you so espouse just creates bigger and bigger walls of your cynicism.
I think that is absolutely false. I can't believe that you would thrust that opinion. If two consenting adults want to have sex and both know that it's not love and it's a great thing, if Dana and I wanted to have sex as friends because neither of us have been laid in a while, who does that hurt?
Well, it hurts. Actually, it hurts both
Talking
of
to the
you.
wrong panelist.
It hurts.
Well, no, there's a story to that.
There is a story to that that I'm not going to get into, but
Two consenting adults can do whatever they want. They can just have casual sex and have a good time, and no one gets hurt. And I find that to be, okay, it's possible, but it's very highly unlikely that's true.
there are situations where two people can just have sex and
But
that's fine.
extremely low numbers, would you say?
I would probably say extremely low numbers, but I think that if you're foolish enough to think that I'll have sex with this person, and you're in one or the other person is in it manipulatively thinking that something else is going to come of it, that's your own stuff that you have to deal with. You can't go in there and say, oh yeah, I'm really cool with this, I'm not emotionally involved in this, I'm detached, when you really are. If you do that, then you're getting yourself into a really ugly place.
But doesn't that add to this great depersonalization that as we just go for feelings and this whatever we feel, whatever, you know, makes our head feel good is good.
If you're going to live your life just avoiding somebody might get hurt, so let's not do it, you'd never do anything, you know?
I think it's just cheapening yourself, though. I mean, I don't think,
I think if you do it every day, but I think, I really don't believe, basically everyone has had one or two, meet, hi, how are you, let's go, and you have I've had wonderful, just, you meet people and meet a woman and you have sex that night and that's it, and I've had, a small number of those encounters, but I think back on them very fondly.
You make it sound great, but I've never done that. I've never had a one-night stand.
I've
never.
I think time is probably more
I think as soon as the show's done, I'm going to go out and.
It doesn't mean you're a square. It's what you're comfortable with and honest with yourself about being comfortable with. If you thought, if you went out and did that and it wasn't kind of you, that would be weird. But if you're okay in your own skin doing it and the other person is aware of the situation, it's fine.
That's another point I wanted, just because I am kind of sexually backward, maybe. That doesn't mean I like to, don't read anything any more to that than there is. What is too much sex? Is there a number? Is it crazy, like every week? Would that be too much sex?
No, I don't see, that's the whole thing. I don't know what too much sex is. But with men, sex is an external thing. You thrust out into something else. Whereas when you're the person on the receiving end of all of it, you tend to be a little more choosy. That's a sweeping generalization. But I think too, men have this thing where it's just, you're aware of it. It tells you on the outside of your body when it's ready to do whatever it needs to do. It's just this constant thing that you're always aware of. And I think that the reminder of where your genitalia is in direct correlation to that sort of primalness.
You can have it that way, and you can have it, and it can be much better when you love somebody, but you can also just have recreational sex.
But aren't you guys the
clothes.
same people who are railing against the depersonalization in our society, and nobody cares about each other, and
I had
everybody
sex
wants
with a
to
woman-
just email, and no one wants to connect with each other?
Look, pal,
and then
I had sex with a woman that I met that night, never saw her again. She was a full person to me. She was a person, I liked her, I met her, we had great sex, I said goodbye, see you later. She wasn't a vagina being carried around by a body.
What was her
a
name
person.
again?
I don't remember.
I think that when you remove yourself in this computerized society that we have, what it does is it allows you to not be responsible intellectually and emotionally for someone else's feelings completely.
It's an experience. If it's good, great. If it's not so perfect, whatever. At least you learn from it.
You know what I fear of sex is that because it is such a desire, seemingly like hunger in a way. Whereas some days I don't feel like having sex, and other days I feel very strongly that I would like to have sex. That frightens me in its animal aspect.
You're an animal, honey, that's all.
Yeah, but how do you keep yourself from cheating on someone you care about?
Spoken like a true whore. You're an animal, honey. That's what you are. Put the money on the table.
You finally get a woman on the panel and you call her a whore.
We're talking about an area where it's not about relationships or cheating or infidelity. We're just talking about having sex and having sex within certain parameters where it's in other words, somebody has just decided to say that just sex in itself is immoral.
Right.
And that's weird to me, that you would just say that just meeting two consenting adults, that they would be able to do whatever they want, that would be immoral.
There's nothing dirty with sex. Sex, to me, has something to do with my spiritual life as well. So I have decided that for me.
Right,
I don't decide it harshly on anyone else. I just see a society where a lot of people are sort of becoming freewheeling, and then say, hey, nobody cares about each other anymore.
I mean, we sell everything with sex. We sell cars and milk and everything with it. And yet you can't have any. You can't have any. You can't, Right. And so the whole country is like half-baked. When you think about it, the whole society, everything we do is based on how we're going to control our sexual urge. It's like it's like whitewater rafting. You're in this torrent of this really primal thing, God says, everything else I'm going to fix. But the big thing, the one that drives you through life, you throw the switch. It's very weird. So it's like the whole society is riding this whitewater current of sex. And it's like, how do we do it? My theory is go with it, and you get a good canoe and a good sense of philosophy and where you're going to go, and have fun having sex. Make sure you know. But it's like the fear is that the whole society could get sucked into a vortex of animalistic behavior and the whole place would blow apart.
I think everybody likes those moral bounds, but there's two types. Those who decide, I'm the best person to decide my moral bounds, and then there's the other type of person who says, it's way easier if just somebody would tell me what to do, when, where to be there.
But there's also the third person who is the person who doesn't trust their own judgment, so they have to fill their day full of regiment so that they make sure for themselves that they don't stray from it and do something that society would look upon them as being deviant in some way.
The rules don't help you when you're young because you want to break them. What helps is understanding, and that comes to you later in life. And then what happens is older people who don't understand and haven't been able to come to grips with sexuality and maybe been burned by it, they make up these rules to give to young people. It's like, the blind leading the blind.
Fear is opposite of protection, I think. I think that terrible things can happen from that, and there's nothing good that can happen from that.
People are in denial. They think that by passing out condoms it's going to encourage sex. Sex is encouraged by the fact that you are 16 and have a libido. You're going to have sex when you're 16, no matter what people say. It doesn't matter. Well, number one, it's fun. Number two, it's free. So, what more do you want when you're working minimum wage? It's the bottom line.
To teach that you are the master of those feelings, I think, isn't a mistake. I think it's a very good thing.
But I think that God makes you the master of yourself. I mean, I believe in God, and I think that, God doesn't just say, leave it in my hands. God gives you tools to deal with yourself.
I just find it difficult sometimes when I see something that I think of logically as very sleazy, be it pornography or photographs of somebody that I know I think is very unintelligent, but yet is very buxom, or they have some sort of figure that's not even physically natural, but it somehow excites me. Then I'm ashamed of myself, but at the same time I'm going, well, that's my natural feeling, so go with that. But at the same time I'm going, yeah, but that's the sort of thing you rage against.
I think the rules, what we were talking about earlier, for the young person, when I was 18, I didn't need the rule. The rule was just an impediment. It just made me angry because I wanted to be with that girl. The rules don't comfort the young. The rules comfort old people who think the young are obeying the rules.
That's right.
And that's all the rules are for, is old people who are afraid of what sex will do to young people. And it's just fear of it.
It just makes us all wonder if we're going to ever get to the point where we have to assess, gee, am I having too much sex? My eyes are kind of funny.
Well, I would like, before we leave this topic, for practical purposes, to discuss how to attain a lot of sex. I think if I'm going to glean anything from this discussion,
you're not only in the right town, you're on the right street.
All right, Daddy.
And on the right stool.
Oh, this is the sex stool.
I think we should bring back cuddling and spooning and not think of that as
Have you seen that video?
That's pretty hot.
What do you mean cuddling and spooning?
I'm kidding.
Explain it.
No, just why is everything so?
Dana, lay on the floor and
Let's
display what
demonstrate.
spooning is.
You know, will you?
Angry and righteous, illegal, stray seven, coveting, lust, deception, envy, thy gluttonous neighbor with pride and fear, piacular eyeballs looking through binocular at a flock of horny pink flamingos. Tongue weight is losing like a grass-stained kitty, licking phony, bony pig hogs. The wrath of a lech and a concubine when the vanity mirror ate a raisin and melted in the microwave. That a greedy sloth garnished with a pancake.
Next time on Get Serious, rock and roll is the root of all evil.
Yeah, I don't think it is the root of all evil. I think that, and I have conviction saying this, I think that, well, when rock and roll was, when my mother was a little girl in '55, what was rock and roll but Elvis Presley, and that was evil. And what was Elvis Presley? Oh, thank you very much. Red, how was the sound? Red, was the sound good?
And then the other example, Rolling Stones, likewise, a durable rock band. The song Emotional Rescue. I'm your knight in shining armor, coming to you. What a dumb, idiotic song from the people who brought you Sympathy for the Devil. Evil.
I also like to shake my booty to the Commodores, and they're not speaking to me. They're just making me shake it. And it's got a good, I love, you know, when the disco sucks times. I mean, I love, come on, we're like, woo, what is wrong, what is evil about this? Nothing.
That is evil on so many levels.
I saw Pete Townsend 3 weeks ago when he had a nice pair of pants on and a coat and a haircut, and he rocked out.
You're
I'm talking about middle-aged guys who dress like they're 17. It's stupid.
He had a nice pair of pants on.
Who doesn't think Mick Jagger looks like a fool?
Mick Jagger.
As a woman, can you speak for women? Do women know how to play air guitar, or is that a peculiar guy? Because I've seen women playing guitar. You know, the guy was playing the guitar. It's like, no, he was not playing this weird sort of...
Yeah, see, because the men have the bass that go with that. Oh.
There's air guitar, but when you really are at a party and you need to attract the ladies, there's the air bass, which is more the kick. And then if the ladies... And
I'm getting a lot of
about the
feedback
air
from
bass,
that air amp. Can you turn that down a little bit?
if the ladies aren't paying attention, you just make the guitar bigger.
Rody. I got you. I got you.
If the chicks really just get the biggest air bass you can find.
That's a big mariachi bass.
Rock and roll is not evil. I think that there's some rock and roll musicians that are evil. The bass player is Steely Dan. I know that he's evil, but...
More compelling and silly ideas next time on Get Serious.